Hello everyone, welcome once again. Um, in this tutorial, I'm going to go through the sources of information, and these sources of information, they are part of our course, and that is the information literacy course. And therefore, I have made very many videos about what an information literacy is, so you can go and check them out. And in today's tutorial, I am basically going to talk about the sources of information, what the sources of information are, and how are they helpful and useful in your research or whatever. So this is a brief outline of what we are going to talk about today. And in this video, shall be discussing about what an information source really mean, the definition of an information source. So I'll be talking about the types of information sources. So as well be looking about the primary source of information, what it is, the definition, the characteristics of this source of information, the examples of this primary source of information, the purpose it plays in, and the roles in research of the primary source of information. Likewise, we will look at the time frame of this source of information, of which we will get to know that this source of information is more crucial. And next in the list, we shall be looking at the reliability of the primary source of information. So looking at the pros and the cons. The pros and the cons are the advantages and disadvantages of this primary source of information, and therefore we shall be able to conclude this course. And by the end of this course, or by the end of this video, you will be able to learn all about these in these sources of information, what they are, most especially the primary source of information. Now, therefore, this will take us to the first item in the list, and what is an information source. Therefore, information source, quickly, these are records and they are materials. It can be records, it can be documents that provide data or knowledge on a particular field. This sources serves across several areas, and it acts as a foundation for research, and as well as also a foundation for decision making in such a way that it acts across all academic and professional fields and in everyday context in such a way that these sources of information, they are also classified or identified depending on the type or nature of information they provide and the event they are used. Now this will take us to the types of these information sources, and I'm going to give you three main types of information sources, of which we shall be discussing more about the first two. And the first type of an information source is the primary source of information, and the second one is the secondary source of information, and lastly we have the tertiary source of information. So as I said earlier, the first and the second primary source and secondary source of information, we shall be looking at them more into detail. So in today's video, I'm going to talk more and into details about the primary source of information and basically what it is all about. So looking into the primary source of information, this is a direct and first-hand evidence, and therefore it is being created at the time of event. When an event happens, and that is where the source, or the information is gotten, and those people who are witnesses of the event, they are the primary source of information because they have the primary source, they have the original source, and this source of information is not altered and it is unmediated. So basically, that is what a primary source of information basically is. This will take us to the next and the characteristics of this primary source of information. So in this characteristic of the primary source of information shall be knowing them in their originality, in such a way that these sources act as first-hand information. They are original, the data that are gotten at the time when the event is being created. They have raw facts or data. In fact, a raw fact is an information that is being gotten and that is being picked from an event that is happening or a phenomenon, and the time when that event is happening is when that information is being fed, and it is unmediated evidence itself. It's the evidence. Like there is no one who, okay, it's not being passed from one person to another and to another person, but itself is it's the evidence of the information, and it is time related in such a way that it is being it is being recorded at the same time the event is taking place. And this will take us to the next item in the outline, and this item is the examples of this primary source of information. And in the example, we have the documents. In these documents, we have historical documents, we have legal documents, we have newspapers, we have letters. And the other one is creative works. Now, this creative work can be a novel, it can be a song, it can be an artwork created at a particular time or event or at a particular period. And we shall be looking at the other one, which is the oral histories and interviews, in such a way that this information is directly got from eyewitnesses, like it is interviews made direct with an eyewitness. For example, if an accident takes place, now the people involved in witnessing those accidents, they have they are the primary source of information, they have the original data. Therefore, it is also like used like it is also like using artifacts in such a way that these tools, the building, the clothing, the buildings, and certain architecture such as the pyramids or the pyramids of Egypt and medieval castles. This falls under the artifacts. Then we have the scientific data in such a way that this is more basically in experiments performed in laboratories. It can be of physics, chemistry, and whatever, biology. Now, the information that you record, all the information that's being recorded as the experiment is being carried, that is the primary information, and it is a raw facts. It is not mediated, but it's taken at the time of the event, and therefore, having learned about the examples of these sources of these primary sources of information, let us also look at the purpose it plays in research. Okay, the purpose of this information in such a way that the purpose of this information is to give a raw evidence, like they are unmediated. Now, the evidence that they give the raw in such a way that they are directly gotten from the person involved in the act or the eyewitnesses. Also, it plays a key role in research, so in such a way that it acts as a research foundation. Therefore, this primary sources are the cornerstone of original research. When scholarly, when scholars get direct information analyzed from people who took part in the event, that is what primary source of information is reliably for. And the other one is that it is an insight to contexts in such a way that they allow researchers to understand events, figures, or phenomena from the perspective of those who live with them. The next one is that they give a direct connection in such a way that these primary sources of information, they are connected directly with the events or the figures under investigation, making them invaluable in uncovering the facts of a specific time or place. And this will take us to how the source of information is reliable in research, the role of this information in research. That's why the primary source of information is essential in fields that require original data. Essential in fields that require original data or first-hand accounts, and therefore they are invaluable and in qualitative research. They are especially used in subjects. They can be used in subjects like history. It is invaluable in qualitative research in subjects like history, anthropology, and sociology, and therefore it's also used to test hypotheses. This now will take us to what time is this information, this primary source of information, or this primary information being gotten. Therefore, this will take us to the time frame of this information type, and the primary source of information. So let's look at its time frame in such a way that this primary source of information, they are usually produced at the same event, at the same time as the what? As the event or phenomenon. And therefore they are written up like a letter written at that point where the information is being gotten. So that is the time frame. Like it cannot be gotten like from after some several times, but exact time when the information or the event is occurring, the accident is occurring, the war is breaking out, that is when this information is recorded, and therefore that comes to its time frame. And therefore we shall be now looking at its reliability in such a way that we shall be looking at the strength of these primary sources in such a way they provide direct evidence valuable for obtaining unaltered facts. And we shall also be looking at the challenge of this primary source of information in that they may be biased, incomplete, or deceptive. Therefore, those eyewitnesses also can be deceiving in such a way that they may fail to give the rightful information and others even can not disclose the rightful information. And let us briefly look at the pros and the cons of this information, the advantages and disadvantages of this source of information as being the primary source of information. One of the pros, which is the advantage of this source of information, is that it gives direct access to the past or first-hand accounts. It is also like it provides authenticity. It provides authenticity, original thought, or raw data. And the last one is that it facilitates new insights and original analysis. Now, okay, let us look at the cons or the disadvantage of this so-called primary source of information. One is that interpretation, like it often requires interpretation and contextual knowledge. Some of those information, like some of those events that occurs, they are in fact they occur in form of actions. So you need to interpret and contextualize your knowledge so that you'll be able to get the information, you'll be able to note down, you'll be able to record the information, you'll be able to tell someone about the information. So now the next disadvantage is that it can be incomplete or biased. Even those eyewitnesses that are involved at the time of event, they can give biased or incomplete information. Therefore, because what you get from them is what you believe is right, and therefore they can be difficult to analyze. That they without like let's say without background or expertise, they can be very difficult, and it's difficult to analyze this primary source of information. Therefore, let us now for look at that these primary sources of information, they are essential, like this direct source of information, they are essential for obtaining direct and mediated evidence. Now it can be like it acts as a foundational data being studied, or a case study, or a foundation data for a topic of research. That is how useful this primary source of information is. It can be also used in the like they can provide like new insights, theories, conclusions for your research, and so on. Therefore, thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can go and subscribe. You click on subscription button and you click on the notification bell. You turn it on so that any video that I'll be uploading, you'll be able to be notified, because you need also to work in this course so that you become an information literate student. Thank you.